Hello everyone, today I'll continue telling you the story of the single mother Hoài. I hope you enjoy the video. That afternoon, after leaving Hung's mother's house, Hoài sat on the back of the motorbike, arms gently wrapped around Hung's waist, but her mind was tangled and heavy. The evening breeze was cool, yet her heart felt weighed down as if a stone was pressing on it. She didn't dare say how she truly felt, afraid Hung would be sad, but through the rearview mirror, he could already tell. Hoài eyes had never been good at hiding anything. When they got home and Hung was putting things away, Hoài stood by the window, looking at the row of trees outside the porch. A quiet uncertainty rose inside her. She genuinely wanted Hung's mother to change. She wanted the woman to become better, to learn how to love Tony, to understand that family isn't just about blood, but also about affection. If that day ever came, Hoài would be willing to love her as her own mother. She wasn't a stubborn person. As long as there was sincerity, she was willing to open her heart. But everything Hung's mother had done before was like old scars. Every time she thought about them, the pain flared up instinctively. The harsh words, the disdainful looks, the times she tried to tear her and Hung apart. All of it made it impossible for Hoài to fully trust again after just one apology or one warm meal. She clenched her hands, her chest tight. She wanted to believe, but she was afraid to believe. She wanted to open her heart, but she was afraid of being hurt again. Hung stepped behind her, wrapping his arms loosely around her waist, as if he already knew she was fighting her own feelings. "You don't have to rush," he said softly, his voice low and warm, as if shielding every hesitation in her heart. "I know this isn't easy. I just don't want you to force yourself." Hoài nodded lightly and leaned back against him. I really want to believe. I want her to truly change. If she becomes kind, I'll love her like my own mother. But I'm scared. I can't accept everything right away." Hung pulled her closer. "It's okay, Ca. We have time. If she wants to change, she has to prove it through her actions, not just a few words. Take your time. I'm always here with you." And for the first time since that lunch, Hoài exhaled a little easier. She realized she didn't have to force herself to trust, nor to forgive. She just needed time to see, to feel. If Hung's mother truly wanted to change, then one day her own heart would open again. But for now, she still needed time to heal, to trust again, and to make sure her affection wouldn't be misplaced once more. That evening, after a simple dinner, Hung washed the dishes while Hoài wiped the table. The sound of running water mixed with the faint buzzing of mosquitoes outside created a quiet, strange stillness. When they finished cleaning, both sat on the sofa. The dim lights cast a warm, slightly melancholic glow over the room. Hoài leaned back, turning a warm cup in her hands, eyes lowered as if searching for answers at the bottom of the glass. Hung sat beside her, patiently waiting for her to speak. After a long moment, she finally whispered, "Hung, I feel like I'm being strange." She apologized. "She wants to change, but I'm still scared." Hung turned to her, his eyes soft but full of concern. "You're not strange at all, Ca. Anyone who's been hurt would be scared." Hoài bit her lip. "I want to believe her. I really do. But every time I think of the days she chased me away, yelled at Tony, my heart just tightens. I can't open up right away." "You don't have to," Hung murmured, placing his hand gently on hers. "Trust isn't a light switch you can flip on. It takes time. If my mom wants our trust, she'll have to earn it slowly." Hoài stayed silent as a tear slipped down, not from pain, but from being understood. In a small voice, she said, "You know, I actually want her to be good to us. I want her to love Tony. I don't want our family to be tense forever. I want peace. I want Tony to have a real grandmother." Hung's heart tightened. He pulled her into his arms, letting her rest her head on his shoulder. "Ca, you're not wrong for wanting peace. But peace can't grow on wounds that haven't healed. I promise. I won't let anyone hurt you again. If my mother wants to change, she has to show it. All you need to do is watch. Hoài whispered, almost like a breath. But I'm afraid one day I'll be disappointed again. Hùng cupped her cheek gently, lifting her face to look at him. And if that day ever comes, I'll be the one standing in the middle to protect you. And Tony, you'll never face anything alone. I'm here. She looked at him for a long time, and for the first time that day, her eyes seemed less burdened. The fear was still there, but it was softened by his embrace, an anchor she knew she could trust. In that moment, she whispered, "Thank you, for always loving me and understanding me." Hùng smiled and pressed a gentle kiss to her forehead. "I love you. And I'll walk with you through everything, whether my mother changes or not." Hoài nodded softly. She still couldn't trust completely. She still couldn't open her heart all at once. But tonight, she knew she wasn't alone. The next morning, when Hùng and Hoài arrived home, Hung's mother was already sitting in the living room waiting for them. She no longer had the cold, irritated expression she used to wear. Instead, she looked tense, almost nervous. Her hands were clasped together, fingers tangled with unease as she looked at the two of them stepping inside. "Sit down, you two. I have something to say." Hùng and Hoài exchanged a glance, then quietly sat down. The room fell so silent that even the ticking of the clock sounded loud. Hung's mother took a deep breath, mustering all her courage. "Hùng. Hoài, these past few days I've been thinking a lot. I know I was wrong before. I was too greedy, too hot-tempered, always putting myself first. I hurt you too. I scared you. I made this house anything but peaceful." Her voice trembled. She lowered her head. "Now I feel so alone, Hùng. I'm getting old. I just want a family, want my children around me. I truly, truly want to change." Hùng froze, unable to believe his mother could speak so honestly. And Hoài heart pounded hard, stunned by this sudden shift. Hung's mother lifted her head, her eyes slightly wet. "If you two can give me another chance, I want you to come live here with me. I want this house to have laughter again. To have full family meals. I want to hear a child running outside in the afternoons. I want Tony to play in the yard like my real grandson." At that, Hoài looked down, her throat tightening. A family, peace, recognition. These were things she had longed for since she was young. But the offer came too suddenly, too fast, leaving her unsure how to react. She squeezed her hands, while Hùng could only stare at his mother, speechless. "Me, you really want us to move back here? After everything?" She nodded firmly, eyes unwavering. "Yes. I'm saying this with all my heart. I don't want to live alone anymore. I know I was wrong, and I want to make up for it. I just hope you two won't abandon me." The words struck deeply into Hoài heart. She raised her head, her voice soft but filled with confusion. "Auntie, hearing you say this, it really surprises me." Hung's mother looked at her directly, no harshness, no coldness, only the clumsy sincerity of a mother trying to change. "Hoài, I'm sorry for everything I did before. If you can give me time, I want a chance to love you like my own daughter." The room fell silent again. Only the sound of wind outside and the steady ticking of the clock remained. Hoài took a slow breath. Inside her, everything was tangled, wanting to trust, but afraid of being hurt again. Hùng placed a hand over hers, giving it a gentle squeeze, quietly saying, "I'm here." Hoài finally spoke, her voice small but steady. I believe you want to change. I also want our family to be peaceful. But, moving in right away. I'm not ready yet. I need more time." Hung's mother bowed her head, no anger, no disappointment. Her voice softened more than ever. "I understand. Take all the time you need. As long as you give me a chance. I'll try my best to change, little by little. On the way home, Hoài sat behind Hùng, her arms around his waist, but her mind pulled in two directions. Her heart was filled with swirling questions. The words of Hung's mother echoed in her mind. I really want a family. Please give me a chance. Don't leave me alone. The more she thought about it, the more unsettled her heart became. She wanted to believe. She really did. When they got home, Hùng went to shower, while she sat at the edge of the bed, hands clasped tightly. The warm yellow light made the room even quieter, like it was waiting for her to face her own truth. She loved Hùng. Loved him so deeply that the sight of his smile softened her whole world. She didn't want his family to break because of her. Didn't want his mother to be lonely. And she especially didn't want Tony to grow up in an environment full of tension. Hoài placed her hand over her chest, her heart thumping painfully. I really want to be your family. She whispered, almost afraid of her own vulnerability. But then flashes of the past hit her. The shouting, the insults, being chased out, the cruel looks. All of it pouring back like cold water. Those wounds hadn't healed yet. They remained there, quietly reminding her how deeply she had been hurt. I want to believe, but I'm still scared. She sighed softly. She didn't want to reject Hung's mother. She didn't want to hurt her. But she wasn't ready to move in yet. She pulled the blanket close, as if trying to steady her emotions. Inside her heart was a real wish. That Hung's mother would truly change. That one day she could call that house home. That Tony would have a real grandmother. That she and Hung could build a complete family together. She didn't want to leave Hung. Didn't want to give up. Didn't want to be the reason his family drifted apart. When Hung came out of the bathroom, hair still damp, he saw her sitting quietly, as if holding the entire sky of worries inside her. What are you thinking about so deeply? He asked gently. Hoài looked up, her eyes slightly red from overthinking, but filled with a new determination. I want to try, Hung. I want to be part of your family. But I need more time. Hung sat beside her, pulling her into his solid, reassuring embrace. I understand. And I'll wait for you. As long as it takes. His words poured into her heart like warm water. She wrapped her arms around him, resting her face on his shoulder. Thank you. I love you so much. I just can't move into that house right away. He stroked her back gently, voice deep and sincere. That's okay. We'll take it slow. Just don't leave me. In his arms, the fears inside her gradually softened. She truly wanted to be Hung's family. But to reach that day, she needed just a little more time. For her heart to be completely at peace. That afternoon, the sunlight fell softly, and a gentle breeze slipped through the window, making the curtains flutter lightly. Hoài sat in the living room, arms wrapped around her knees, her gaze drifting out toward the small yard in front of the house. The words Hung's mother had said were still vivid in her mind, as if someone had carved them directly onto the wall of her heart. She wanted to believe. She truly wanted to. But fear still lingered somewhere deep inside, making every decision feel as heavy as stone. While she was lost in thought, she heard small footsteps pattering from the bedroom. Ma, me ca. Tony ran out, clutching the old toy she had once fixed for him. Hoài forced a small smile and patted his head. You're awake? Are you hungry? Tony didn't answer right away. He lifted his round little face, his big black eyes shining as he looked at her. Then in a very honest, innocent voice, he asked. Me ca. Grandma said she missed me today. Can I go play with her? Hoài froze. Tony tilted his head, continuing in a tiny voice that was so sincere it softened her heart piece by piece. I know she yelled at you. I heard it. But she bought braised shrimp for me, and she said she won't yell anymore next time. I think. Grandma is sad too, like you are when you cry. Then, Tony placed his tiny hand on her hand. The way a child tries to comfort an adult with nothing but pure innocence. I want grandma to be in our family later. I want more people, so it's happier. And, don't be scared, Mommy CA. I love you. Hoài CA's heart trembled. A child has no schemes. No pretending. No hiding. Everything Tony said came from the heart of a child who genuinely wanted a complete family. Hoài CA pulled him into her arms, burying her face in his soft hair. She hugged him tightly, as if she wanted to shield him from all the hurt in the world. You're such a good boy, her voice trembled. I'll try, for you, and for your dad too. Tony wrapped his arms around her neck and whispered, his breath smelling faintly of milk. Don't be sad, Mommy CA. I love you the most, don't cry. Hoài CA let out a small laugh mixed with a quiet sob. In the end, it was Tony, with the pure innocence of a child, who pulled her heart a little closer toward trust again. She looked at him, then at the small yard outside, and told herself she couldn't let old fears take away the chance at a new family. A family with Hùng, with Tony, and maybe, even with his mother. For the first time since morning, her heart felt slightly lighter. Not fully open yet, but the walls had lowered. That night, after Tony had fallen fast asleep, Hoài CA walked into the living room. Hùng was sitting on the sofa, his laptop open, though his eyes weren't really focused on the screen. When he saw her walk in, he immediately closed the laptop and looked at her with concern. You look like you've been thinking a lot, he said softly, offering her a gentle smile though his eyes held worry. Hoài CA sat down beside him, her fingers entwined tightly, and she began slowly. Hùng, I have something I want to tell you. Hùng straightened slightly, his gaze attentive and careful. Go ahead. I'm listening. There was a brief silence before she took a deep breath. I've been thinking all day. About what your mom said, about moving in with her. Hùng stiffened immediately. His hand curled into a fist without him realizing. He feared she felt pressured. Feared she was hurting. Feared she was forcing herself. CA, if you don't want to, I'll talk to my mom. No one gets to pressure you, he said quickly, almost urgently. But Hoài CA shook her head and placed her hand on his, calming him. I want to try, she said softly, but with certainty. I want to move in with her. Hung's eyes widened. Are you sure? Are you feeling pressured? Hoài CA smiled faintly, her eyes glistening but steady, more determined than ever before. No. I decided this myself. I know she was wrong before, I know I'm still scared, but I can see she really wants to change. And more than that. She looked into his eyes, speaking slowly, each word coming straight from her heart. I love you, Hùng. I want to be your family. I don't want the past to make me lose the chance to have a complete home. I want Tony to have a grandmother. I want our house to feel warmer. Hung's heart tightened, both joyful and afraid. He held her hands, his voice trembling slightly. I'm scared you'll get hurt again. I don't want anything painful to happen to you anymore. She squeezed his hand gently. If anything happens, I'll tell you. I won't keep it inside anymore. Hùng looked at her for a long moment, then suddenly pulled her into his arms, holding her tightly. His voice was low and warm against her ear. I support every decision you make. Whatever you choose. I'm with you. I promise nothing will happen to you. I'll protect you, and Tony too. Hoài CA rested her head on his shoulder, feeling more secure than she ever had. I know, she whispered. I trust you. Hùng pressed a gentle kiss onto her hair. A kiss filled with gratitude, love, and a deep sense of responsibility. Then, we'll take things slowly, okay? No one will hurt you again. And I'll always be right beside you. Hoài CA nodded softly. In that moment, her heart no longer trembled the way it had that morning. She knew she had just made a difficult decision. But she also knew it came from love and from growth. And most importantly, she wasn't walking this path alone. The next morning, Hung drove Hoài to his mother's house. Along the way, her hand tightened slightly on the back of his shirt, nervous, anxious. Hung understood, so every now and then he turned his head a little and asked softly, "You okay?" Hoài only nodded, but her heartbeat was so fast it almost hurt. She was afraid of making a mistake, afraid his mother would misunderstand, afraid everything wasn't ready yet. But then she remembered Hung's promise from the night before, and the fear eased a little. When they stepped inside the house, his mother was watering the orchids in the front yard. The moment she saw them, she froze. There was something hopeful yet cautious in her eyes, as if she didn't dare expect too much. Hung spoke first. "Mom, we have something to tell you." His mother put down the hose, wiped her hands on the towel nearby, and sat on the wooden bench. "What is it, you two?" Hoài looked at Hung. He looked back at her. He gave her a small reassuring nod. Hoài took a deep breath. I've thought about it a lot. And I want to tell you that I agree to move in and live with you." Silence fell instantly. Then, Hung's mother's hands began to tremble. She stared at Hoài as if she couldn't believe her own ears. "You really mean it, Hoài? You really want to live here?" Hoài nodded, her voice soft but steady. "Yes. I want to give it a try. I want our family to be peaceful. I want Tony to have a real grandmother. And I believe you want to change." It was only when she heard that last sentence that his mother completely broke. Tears spilled. Not from sadness, but from the overwhelming feeling that something she thought impossible had finally come true. She covered her mouth, shoulders shaking. "Oh my God. I thought you'd never forgive me. I thought I already lost both of you." Hoài lowered her head, her heart aching yet touched. I still need time. But I want to try. I want to believe in you." Hearing that, Hung's mother stood up, tears still on her face, and took Hoài hands tightly. For the first time, those hands were not cold, not trembling with anger, but trembling with gratitude. Thank you so much. I promise. I'll change. I'll love you like my own daughter. I won't hurt you again, never again." Hung watched the scene, and his heart felt lighter. He stepped behind Hoài and gently rested his hand on her shoulder. "Mom, we'll move in slowly. Ca still has a lot on her mind. Please don't pressure her." His mother nodded quickly, repeatedly. No, Mom understands. Take as long as you need. As long as you two come back. I'm already happy." Hoài looked at her, eyes glistening faintly. For the first time, she could feel how much his mother truly wanted to rebuild the family. And in that moment, her heart opened just a little more. That evening, after discussing their moving plans, Hung's mother suddenly said, "Stay for dinner with me, okay? I just made a few simple dishes, nothing fancy." Her voice was cheerful yet nervous, as if afraid Hoài would refuse. Hung glanced at her and saw her hesitating slightly before she nodded. "Yes. I'll stay." Hearing that, his mother smiled so brightly her eyes almost closed. She hurried into the kitchen, flustered to the point she nearly dropped a spoon. Hung followed her to help, while Hoài sat in the living room, listening to the clinking pots and pans, a mixture of warmth and nervousness swelling inside her. She still wasn't used to it, but the feeling no longer frightened her like before. It just felt new, and fluttery. A while later, the dinner table was set. Pumpkin soup with shrimp, tender caramelized pork, scallion omelette, and a simple plate of boiled vegetables. Not fancy dishes, but one look and Hoài knew she had put real effort into it. "Hoài, sit here. I already placed chopsticks for you," his mother said, her voice gentler than usual. Hoài whispered a thank you and sat next to Hung. At first, no one dared speak loudly. The clink of the spoon hitting the bowl echoed clearly. She took a small bite of the omelet. His mother leaned forward a little. Is it okay? Too salty? Hoài, startled at the unexpected question. No, it's really good. His mother let out a relieved breath, so dramatic that Hùng couldn't help laughing quietly. The atmosphere was awkward, but in the sweetest way. A moment later, it was Hùng who broke the silence. This caramelized pork is so good. I thought Ca made it. His mother chuckled. Liar. It's normal for a young girl to cook better than me. Hoài-Ca's cheeks flushed, embarrassed but warmed. Toward the end of the meal, his mother gently set down her chopsticks, her eyes turning toward Hoài-Ca, not strict, not judging, but honest. Hoài-Ca, thank you for giving me a chance. I know I'm difficult. I know I've done many wrongs. But from now on, I'll try, so this house can have more laughter. Hoài-Ca bit her lip, looking down at her bowl, and softly replied. Yes. I want to try too, so our family can be happier. Hùng looked at the two women in his life, feeling his chest loosen little by little. Under the table, he squeezed Hoài-Ca's hand gently, a silent encouragement. The first dinner together. Awkward, hesitant. But the warmest meal Hoài-Ca had eaten after months of tension. And under the soft yellow kitchen light, all three of them could feel that something had shifted. A small door had opened. A family was beginning to heal.
Xin chào tất cả mọi người. Hôm nay thì mình sẽ đọc bài thơ tình bạn. Bài thơ tình bạn. Hôm nay đến lớp thấy vắng thỏ nâu. Các bạn hỏi nhau, thỏ đi đâu thế? Gấu liền vội kể, thỏ bị ốm rồi. Nào các bạn ơi, đi thăm thỏ nhé. Gấu tôi mua khế, khế ngọt lại thanh. Đánh đường mát ngọt. Hiêu mua sữa bột, là nai sữa đậu nành, nai sữa đậu nành. Cùng nhau đến lớp, học tập thật tốt, xứng đáng trò ngoan. Chữ cuối là chữ gì không có nhìn thấy. Cảm ơn mọi người đã nghe bài thơ tình bạn. Tạm biệt mọi người, hẹn gặp lại mọi người trong những video sau.